Hi there, and welcome to Jay's Toy Collection UK for another episode of This Week in Toys, the live stream. So I think this is episode 4. There was a pilot episode, so you could technically call this episode 5. I don't know, but I'm here and I'm live again. Now you may notice to my side here, there is no cheeky monkey this week. I've just got an actual monkey. So this is her little monkey representative. She's over there in the corner in her pajamas because she's got a bit of a headache. So don't panic. It's not just me. I have got special guests. We've upgraded Cheeky Monkey Kiara. I've brought in some experts for tonight's topic because, of course, as you can see, NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Madness is on the screen because, yeah, it's a bit nuts. But we will get into that. We will do the full toy news, all the pickups and everything. So I will bring in my first guest to join me. Now, if you talk turtles, there is one man that you think of in the action figure community that is the expert on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This man is the co-host of Turtles and Tea, the epic live stream on the Dan Who channel. It's a man, he lovely has a nice piece of wood, usually. So let's bring him in. I'll press the button and hopefully it will work. Please welcome. It is Super Turk 5000 himself. It is, of course, Tanner.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit hoarse today. I'm kind of coming down with the flu, so I'll try and keep up with everything that's going on. But yeah, looking forward to this discussion we're going to have today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fruity one, I think, tonight. Cheeky Monkey's got a headache. Tanner's got the lurgy. I've had to take paracetamol because I got so stressed at work today as well. So it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? But it's Friday night. We're here and we're talking toys. And just like the New World Order, Bash at the Beach, 1996, there's going to be, we put the two suites up there, there is going to be a third man, ladies and gentlemen, a third man to join the team. We could be the Scott Hall than the Kevin Nash, but we need Hulk Hogan. So here he is. It's the Hulk Hogan of the toy community. It's Tac Tac Toys for Film. It's Mark Tac Tac. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Tanner. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be compared to Hulk Hogan and glad to be here.
I don't know where that came from. That just literally came out of my mouth as I was speaking. I saw 3-man. I was going to say we're going to have a threesome, but I tried to calm it down a little there.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the New Day and just get us all dancing and grinding, mate.
Well, I'm wearing this very excited sort of neon turtles top, as you can see this evening. So if you'd like to do some jiggling and grinding, we can make that happen. So, well, here we are, a 3-man team. We are going to talk some toys tonight. Now, if you've seen the previous week's shows, you will know that I have a lovely list prepared usually. And tonight, because of work commitments and everything, I've written absolutely nothing down. So that's out the window. So we're going to have to literally wing this as we go through. But I've got my 2 wingmen. It's like we're going out in a nightclub. They're my wingmen. They're going to find us. We're going to find ourselves some ladies. Cheeky Monkey's over there like, what are you doing? She says carry on. She says carry on. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Carry on. So here we are. Right. What shall we do first? Let's say hello to the chat, shall we? Let's say hello to the chat. So if in the chat, make yourself known and I will come and say hello to you. So over we go. Up to the top then. Who have we got here? We got Damien Stories in the chat. He's looking forward to this. He's got the house to himself, so he's going to catch up on the toy news. So hello to Damien. Cheeky Monkey's here in the chat. She's got the spanner, so she's got the power. Don't say anything she doesn't like, or she'll kick you out of here if she knows how. I'm not sure she does know how, to be fair, but we'll find out. Is there any pink hand waving? Of course, there's pink hand waving going on. Hello, Jamie. Jamie is in the chat. How are we doing, Jamie? Hello, this is Inception. Mark, you're in the chat. You're on here. How are you in 2 places at once?
I just get around, Jay.
Just gets around. That's how he does it. Pow! Here he is. It's Dan Who. He has that word copyrighted, so I probably have to pay him 4p now or something to say that. Hello, Dan. Here for, of course, this turtle debate this evening as we're going to get into it. Oh, my goodness. Turtles. Who else have we got in here? Anyone I've missed? Oh, hello. We got another one. We got one of Mark's fellow Joes and Juice co-hosts there. It is Mini Plastic Multiverse himself. Hello, Tom. We give you a G.I. Joe salute there or something along those lines. Are we supposed to do it that way or do we do it this way? Anybody? There you go. Right, okay. That way it is. So Tanner's here. Look at that. How long will that take us? Less than 5 minutes. Evil Turkish Spiderman is already been mentioned.
Yeah, buddy.
We got some
Let's see how long before a Cody Rhodes reference is made now.
Now,
if you know, you know.
That was going to be my introduction to it, and I completely forgot because I didn't write any show notes. But I was going to actually sing earlier. I was going to get the old adrenaline in my soul going and introduce you that way, but I completely forgot. So there you go.
It's not too late, Jay. We know you can bust out the lyrics, and you're good with the guitar.
I'll kick you out and I'll bring you back in again. We'll do it again. Right. Adrenaline in my soul. There he is. Whatever the words are, I can't remember the rest of it.
I can't remember now. The flu's got me. Yeah, I think it's every night out of control. Gonna give them what they came to see. And I'll leave it at that.
Something Cody Rhodes usually is my intro. Mark could have helped us there. Mark, I take it Mark is not the modern wrestling expert there. We've introduced.
I'll be honest, Jay. This is like I'm learning. You know, this is going completely over my head. Yeah.
Who else we got on the chat? If I scroll down here, we got Adam at Batman around himself, Figure Clave Collectibles, saying hello to all of us. Hello. Oh, Dan's thrown at the two sweets. I believe Tanner, you said comes from the Turkish mafia or something along those lines?
It does. So there was it's on the WWE network. They have a Free for Dinner with X-Pac, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and they discuss the origins of the Two Sweet, in which they were on the European tour, I think in like Germany or somewhere. Yeah. And X-Pac was like, "Oh, I saw some Turkish mafia guys doing that. They're very right-wing guys." And he's like, "Oh, I really like it, so I stole it." And that's how it came to America and became such a cult classic. But if you do that to a Turkish person, that generally means a bad thing. So I understand it, so I'm fine. But yeah, you may get in a little bit of trouble depending on who you do it to.
So you've learned, ladies and gentlemen, don't go to Turkey and do that, because you could be in some deep doo-doo. Who else we got? Justin Collects is here. There we are. Justin's here. Jamie. Oh, we've got a few new names down here. Let's say hello to. We got Daryl Shelley. Hello, Daryl Shelley. What's up, everybody? And we've got Marty McFly. Marty McFly. So, Mark, you're the expert on films. Has he come back from the future?
He's returned. Yeah, he's returned to us from the 1955, Jay.
He's come all the way back. He's travelled at 83 miles an hour, I think.
Miles an hour. That's
88.
5 miles off, ladies and gentlemen. 5 miles off. And he's already talking about our debate there, commissioning artists on Instagram. Indeed, we'll get to the turtles there. Who else have we got here? Dan is singing, and Little Leaf Creations, I think, is here as well. So evening all. Hello, Little Leaf Creations. So let me see if I can fiddle with the old screen share button, because I've never had to do that. It's taken me ages to work out to get multiple guests on. So this is the first time, with hopefully many will be able to have multiple guests on, and Cheeky Monkey can have a rest. So let me see if I can press some buttons and do some screen sharing. You'll have to start doing some live streams yourself, Mark, and learn the pain of trying.
I'm the apprentice, you're the master here, Jay. I'm learning from you. Yeah.
Indeed. Right, so let's try this button. Might do it, I think. Does that just do me? No, it puts us all there, or we can go there. We're probably best to go up the side, I think, so I can get my spreadsheet sharing. If you've seen these live streams before, I'm quite the fan of the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet has returned. So there is the logo. So let's just do a few more bits from here. And final one from here, we will say, of course, Super Chats are on the loose. They are like the Thundercats. So anybody fancies donating to the cause there, please feel free via the Super Chat button. Of course, no obligation, but Super Chats are on the loose. Now we finally hit 1,000 subscribers, and the 4,000-hour view time that they like to have here on YouTube has been achieved. So if you'd like to Super Chat, feel free. And apparently it comes up in different colours on my phone. So that is that one. We will go back to there. And then we'll just do a quick little, get a different screen share up here in a minute, and we'll do that in a minute. Far too many buttons here. I'm going to need a second monitor, I think, boys. That's the way to do this, and you can drag things through, because I've got to keep changing chat just to try and do it from here. So let's go into our first. Before we go into our first news article, actually, let's do traditional on toy streams. Let's do some pickups. So now I need to flip back to thinking this one might do it. There we go. Right. Okay. Anybody got anything of interest before I go through this rather weird pile of Mondos?
So I literally only have one thing, and it's a 2-pack from Hasbro. It's a Spider-Man animated 2-pack. We got Peter Parker and Alistair Smythe, both really good figures. Perfect mind's eye as to how they look. Yeah, I think Alistair Smythe's like there's something off about his face sculpt. I'm not quite sure what. I haven't quite worked out what about it. Just kind of like makes it seem odd to me, but it seems kind of odd. But they are really good figures, both of them. They are currently in my animated Spider-Man display, so I don't want to topple everything over, pull them out. But yeah, that's literally my only pickup of the week, or past few weeks actually.
Very sensible of you. I think it's to me it was the eyes. I think because they put the pupils in, it made the head sculpt just look a little bit off to me. But I don't know if that's for everybody. But that was what was making. He looks a bit too realistic. Where I think he needs to look more cartoony. And I think the pupils have done something to that. But this Peter is just phenomenal.
It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah. It is one of their best figures. It really is. I would have probably preferred him in the season 1 look with the green polo shirt, if I was honest, because I remember that first season a lot more, just because I've watched it so many times more than the rest of the series. But it's such great detail. As I was saying in the cheap plug for myself, there is a full review on the channel. Do go and watch it. It might have been a world premiere. I think I was the first on YouTube to actually get it up by a few hours at least there. But there's a detail like here on the stomach area on the t-shirt. You've got all the wrinkles. It just looks, I don't know, it's a really good looking figure, and the fact you can get him in a little whip pose is really good there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, putting him with Mary Jane and Aunt May, they look perfect together. They really look like the Three Musketeers is the best way I can describe it.
Definitely, yeah, they are really good. So we will see whether that continues in 2024, because of course going back to Dan's live stream last night, him and Rich were going through the potential what they would like to see in any future lines from those VHS sets. So because they've done what they said they would do, wouldn't they? We had 8 for X-Men and 8 for Spider-Man, and they've not announced anything since. And yes, I'm wrong. I think that's what he said on that one.
I like Jay and Tanner. I like that the unmasked head or the Peter Parker head can fit perfectly on the cel-shaded Spider-Man. I saw someone putting the Peter Parker head on the cel-shaded Spider-Man. It looked really good. So another nice little touch that it fits nicely on there. But yeah, they both look great. I watched your review, Jay, and I watched Dan's review. And Smythe and Peter Parker, they both look like great figures. So another great addition to the VHS 2-pack.
Yeah, I think it was in Dan's review. He put the Peter head on the cel-shaded Spider-Man, and it looks good. I'm terrible at doing head swaps, so I always forget to do it. See, I should write things down more. I know with your videos, Mark, you said you go a more sort of scripted format and just so you remember. But me, I'm just like, right, camera's on, off I go. Try to be quick, and then I forget half the things I'm supposed to do. I've got a comment here. Just made me think. Jay, do you prefer I can't get my words out. Peter or Classic Dick? Now, is that an innuendo, Justin, or are you asking me if I like Dick Grayson or Peter Parker? Because I'd probably have to choose Peter, to be fair, but I'm sure these are all penis references that I'm getting here on the channel. See, I set myself up for this filth. I've not said anything filthy, and I'm already getting filthy comments. Absolutely shocking. Mark, have you got anything you'd like to show us?
Just one. I suppose it is Spider-Man based, Jace. So that probably ties in nicely. The Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man version 2.0. I was showing Tanner a few photos of this in our chat. Never had a Revoltech figure before. Really good, really good. Very stylized, very. If you're not used to a Revoltech figure, then it can feel the joints can feel a bit strange, compared to say Marvel Legends or something like that. But these ones, this is one of the newer ones. They've made it quite streamlined. So even when he's in a kind of vanilla pose, he looks really. The shoulder joints, you can obviously see the joints there a little bit, or the kind of the joints. But he looks really good. He poses amazingly. Like the poses you can get him into. I mean, when I'm posing figures, I need to usually take a look at DMAs or Jay Hernandez to get a few ideas, or even just Instagram and stuff. But I was able to get him into some really good poses really easily. So really highly recommend anyone who maybe is a Spider-Man fan or is thinking about getting a Revoltech figure and wants to try one out. Definitely want to check out. I mean, we've got that Thor coming out later in the year. That looks good. So kind of one that was a highlight for me, Jay, and keeping it a man theme. So.
Yeah, no. So it looks a right fancy one. I don't have. That's one thing I don't actually have at all. Is any Revoltech of any kind. The joints always kind of confuse me. I think with those. So I thought I don't know if I was something I'd actually I'd mess with or not. But yeah, they do look. It does look fun. I've seen you pose him around there, and
yeah, I
really
basically, Jay, I haven't put him down since I opened him. I was like that as well. In the I always watch people like Robo talking about Revoltech and thinking, and I thought to myself as well, I don't know if this is a line I get into, because they're so different from like what we think of conventional, Marvel Legends, your Hasbro figures, your Super 7, or you name it. They're so different, but like they are really good. Like the new ones, they're really, really good. They really pose well. So I definitely recommend it, Jay. Not that I want to send you down another rabbit hole, but if you're tempted to try one out, yeah, I'd say pick one up. Yeah.
Mark, I'm gonna try and hook, line, and sinker you, because you tried to get me with this figure. The Iron Spiders I have. If you want to create a Hall of Armor for Spidey, they're really, really good. Very much the same. The Waldos can be slightly iffy, but the joints, the posing, how he looks, just great. Suit of armor, brilliant. And then I also have the 2012 Turtles from the Revoltech line, also amazing figures as well. Well worth that purchase.
Yeah, that's true, Tanner. A lot of people do talk about those turtles, don't they? Actually being really, really good. Yeah. So that's another. I suppose that works. That segues nicely into what we're going to be talking about soon enough, I imagine. But
it will do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There'll be a lot of turtles tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start off my pile then of this week's transactions in the toy world. So I'll start with something close to Mark's heart. Let's start with G.I. Joe. So I haven't even opened these yet. So these came in from post. What actually has come in? Because I literally chucked them to the side and had to get on with the things. So it's Snow Job. So Snow Job has come in from Hasbro Pulse. Wouldn't it be nice to have a Snow Job, as I like to say? I don't know how they got away with that name in the 80s. It just sounds absolute filth. They did change it, I think, in the early 2000s. And then they changed it back to Snow Job, I think I've heard somewhere. So Snow Job is here. Ton of accessories on that one by the looks of it. So who else have we got from Joe? We've got one that literally I just pre-ordered blind a few weeks ago. It's Tripwire. So Tripwire has come in from very quickly. I think less than a month, because I think this was announced at Comic-Con, wasn't it? I think because it came out on the when I popped on Joe's and Juice. It was literally I just blind pre-ordered it before I popped on, because I thought they'd probably sell out, because with Hasbro Pulse UK having all these exclusives on everything, it was just a right pain. So I just pre-ordered. Well, didn't know I was pre-ordering, but he looks kind of cool. So looking forward to getting him open. Now, the rest of these reveals are on a certain theme. They're on a theme of 12 inches. So, 12. Don't laugh at me, dear. She's over there in the corner laughing at my 12 inches. If I was 12 inches, dear, you'd be having a lovely time. That's all I will say. So, I have ventured into the 1/6 scale, which is something I wasn't supposed to do. I never really had any interest in doing it, because I'm not a massive fan of Hot Toys. I've messed with a couple in hand, and when you sort of peel back some of the clothing, I always felt they felt a bit like, I don't know, they felt a bit like sort of Barbie dolls to me underneath, but they're so expensive. Their likenesses are outstanding, but I didn't like the bodies too much on them. So I thought I'll gladly pass on those, because it's talking £300 a figure, then it's like, yeah, something I can gladly pass on. But San Diego Comic-Con, there was a few announcements from Mondo, and they had me rather excited. So I have spent the last few days clearing out my Mezco and my Mafex cabinet. I've made 6 empty display cubes ready for a new Mondo collection. Now, how I intend to actually afford this collection is a completely different story, and I don't actually know. So I think I'm going to have to do a lot of eBaying. I've pulled out hundreds of Marvel Legends I might be potentially selling to try and foot some of this bill. And the Mayfex have moved over into the corner. I've done a new display unit, so I will do a new video when it's all finished of me adapting an IKEA unit to actually fit these things in. But I've gone a bit mad for Mondo, so later on we'll go through some of the Mondo reveals. But I'll show you what.
What's your favourite Mondo figure that you've received so far? Which one's your favourite?
I will get to that. That's number 3 in the pile, I think. So it's quite a heavy pile because these boxes are massive. So we'll start off here. Literally, they're huge, aren't they? It's like the size of bloody me, this box. So I've bought the animated series Batman. So this was the initial intention to get 3 from Batman, 3 from X-Men. Then they announced Spider-Man and everything changed. And I thought, right, I want all the Batman, all the X-Men and all the Spider-Man, which isn't going to be very straightforward, but it's kind of the decision that got made. So there's Batman. There's Catwoman. So I got her from Comic and Cocktails in the UK. She was the last one in the UK. So I literally thought, I don't know if I even want Catwoman, but I better get her just in case she sells out because she'll be twice the blooming price on eBay. So Catwoman was bought purely out of FOMO. So Catwoman's to go with Batman. If you watched last week's episode, you already saw the Joker was in. So the Joker started this off last week. But Mark asked what my favourite was so far. And it is, now Rich M's going to be very proud of me. It's actually Jubilee. This figure is utterly mind-blowing when you see it in hand. The amount of accessories and things, you probably can't see this in there very well because there's going to be too much glare, I would think. But all the different heads, the blast effects and everything, her firework effects just look fantastic. And the sculpt on the figure, she literally looks like Jubilee has jumped from the animation cell straight into the toy collection. It just looks absolutely phenomenal, to be honest with you. So just can't get over how good she looks. So very much looking forward to Magneto that has been shipped from Mondo directly. So he is currently somewhere over the Atlantic, I would assume, making his way here. And the final one I've got is Wolverine himself. So he was an Amazon UK order for next day Prime shipping that I managed to get just to backtrack. So that is the backtrack completed. Everything else will be future pre-orders, so at least I won't have to pay for the rest of them for hopefully quite a while. Sabretooth has made the pre-order. The only one I cannot find is Mr. Freeze, which came out years ago and is like a 400, 500 pound eBay figure. So that one may be a bit of a task to try and find, but that's my 12 inches, everybody. So if I tempt
Jay, I
any of you
noticed I noticed when you were showing us off, Jay, the interesting thing about those Mondos, the artwork is very different. So the artwork's I particularly noticed the artwork on the Batman figure boxes, with the Catwoman being really nice. And then the X-Men artwork's particularly different, isn't it? It's quite sort of all black and white. And like you said, they're filled with accessories, aren't they? So it's like an event. It must be like an event buying those. I'm sure you can tell us it's probably like an event.
Yeah, these aren't even the deluxe ones because I think from what I've learned, they do like a timed exclusive deluxe on most releases where you get even more accessories, but you've got to get that directly from Mondo, like directly at the time, otherwise you can't get them. And I think I've actually just missed Gambit as well, but I think he only went up as a timed exclusive, so I assume a regular release of Gambit will be coming. But yeah, I don't.
Quick question, Jay. So with regards to the Batman. An SDCC reveal was that Man-Bat. Have you already opened up the space for the Man-Bat and his wingspan?
I have not, because I pre-ordered these like 2 weeks after SDCC and missed the Man-Bat. So it's 34 inches though, the wingspan on that Man-Bat. So it's bigger than I was going to say the Sky Striker, but that's not there. The Dragonfly. It's bigger than the Dragonfly in terms of wingspan. So it wouldn't have fitted in the cabinet at least. So that's my only saving grace. I wasn't trying to go all in on Batman, I don't think. Just maybe get a few of my favourites. But I do like Man-Bat. So I'm just a sucker for a 90s animated. Where's Norwood Nomad? I've just said sucker. He'll appear in a minute. It's just those 90s there goes the Booker T down. Mark is absolutely lost for these wrestling references that were given him tonight. But Yeah, they're just absolutely incredible. I cannot tell you how good they look in hand. I'll try and do a proper video when I can on them more once they're all in, but they are fantastic. So I think they're definitely worth they work out about 175 from Mondo, as long as you don't get hit with import fees. So that's not too bad considering some of the things we'll be debating this evening for the size of the figure, the quality of it, and the amount of accessories. So yeah, that was pickups, ladies and gentlemen. So that was Mondo. I've completely ignored the chat. See, let's have a look at the chat. Anything popping in the chat here? There's a cheeky monkey. You had to kick anybody out yet? It's all been perfectly pleasant in the chat. She's happy with the chat. There was sure. She told me to say this when Dan says stop enabling. Now Dan is a man that needs enabling because I think he's going to need some of those Spider-Man Mondos, and I think we could tempt him with the X-Men Mondos. Get them now before they sell out. That's what I would say there. Got to watch out for that enabling. But there you go. Look, he's even come back. Stop enabling. They do look so good. This is a pure enabling stream, ladies and gentlemen. Pure enabling. Now, Tanner is one of the only people in the toy collecting community that's actually been in this house. And I think I may have enabled him to start a little Mezco collection when he last popped in. So if we can get him round again this year, we'll see if we can get him in on Mondo.
No Mondos. I'm not going down the Mondo collection. I'm steering well clear. I know I was thinking about Mezco before I come to yours, and yours kind of clinched it. I have got a couple of 1/6 scale figures, which are my Michael Bay Turtles from 3-0, and that's all they're sticking with. That's all I'm sticking with. I'm not getting any more. I'm not getting any more figures in the 1/6 scale. That's me done.
Yeah, because you were one of the first of us to venture into the 1/6. I know you got those Bay Turtles there. So,
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how we all go. I've ended up doing 3 3/4 and 12-inch in the last couple of months, so I don't quite know how that's happened. This toy game just sort of happens. What was Tom saying about my Mezcos there? That cheeky monkey thought he was going to get rid of the Mezcos for a second. Then nope, they're all right. They've just moved down the cabinet, so they're on the bottom half of the cabinet, and then the top half will be the 12-inch, and then the Mayfex will be behind the cabinet. So I've put the Mezcos in the cabinet because I've got some dust-proof sort of strips on, so you don't get any dust on the Mezcos. So the Mondo, not Mezcos, yeah, Mezcos. It's too many M's. Mezco, Mayfex, and Mondo. It's just like a blooming tongue twister in these sort of more high-end bloody collectibles. Right, so let me sort that out. Let's do a bit of the old screen sharing again, shall we? And then we'll get into our main topic, I think, shall we? Let's go to what am I even sharing? I don't even know what's on the share screen now, so let's go back to that. What were we last sharing? We're sharing my logo. Okay, so let's just do a couple in there. So last week I introduced a few new segments on the channel. So Brian, where's the paint, Brian? So good old Brian from Super 7. His lack of paint has caused me to stop collecting G.I. Joe. So, but I think he's got away with it this week, Brian. You're off the hook. I don't think I've seen any unpainted Super 7s this week. So Brian's off the hook. But we're
Have you seen any Super 7s this week?
I have seen a Rita Repulsa in purple.
Yeah, I've seen that one as well. Yeah. Okay.
As a Power Rangers expert, why is she in purple? Because I have not got a Scooby.
I have a sneaky feeling that's going to, because I do the glow in the dark exclusives for Power for Turtles. I have a sneaky feeling that's going to be a glow in the dark exclusive. That one.
Okay. I was wondering if it was based on any like original toy or something that I'd missed and why it was in a weird purple color, but no. Glow might be a thing. I've got my wave 2 of Power Rangers should hopefully be on the way soon, but luckily I paid for that in full, so that'll be a nice feeling when I haven't got some massive limit invoice come in. Tac-Tac's on tour. There he goes. He's going on a mission.
Tac-Tac's giving us a house tour.
On the move, gents.
There you go. So Tac-Tac's on the move. You got to get on TikTok, Mark. I just want to say Tac-Tac on TikTok. It's one of my favourite little sayings.
I know. Then my day will be complete. I can sign off social media once that happens.
Another segment introduced last week was, of course, Wayne Rants, of course, coming from Wayne, from our friend Wayne at Star Action Figures. Loves a good Facebook rant, and he's been at it again this week. So I saw one yesterday, and I believe he was saying that the rumored repaints or reissues of the Star Wars Black Series aren't actually coming. I believe Nerdzoic put a video out saying about all these potential repaints and sort of some of the older, hard to find figures are getting a redo. But he seemed adamant they weren't actually going to be happening, or at least they weren't coming over here to the UK. So I don't know who to believe on that one, but it seems we might not be getting any of those Star Wars Black Series. Any of you two do Black Series? I don't actually know.
Yes, I actually have a few of those, Jay. You know, so I have the I had a few of the you know, the black basically the biker scout and the trooper, the 2-pack. I think it was a Disney Store exclusive. I actually, just by chance, I bought a few boxed and kept them. I've still got one kept, and that's worth a fair bit now. Like box, but yeah, I do. I dabble in Black Series. I've got a few clone troopers, stormtroopers. Same as you, Tanner. Is that right? Do you dabble in Black Series?
I have no Star Wars Black Series at all. So it's
not even
not
a
my
dabbler.
warehouse, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, unfortunately. So I can't get involved in any thing. The only things I do Star Wars related is watch the Disney Plus shows and the movies when they come out. I'm not a huge diehard for Star Wars.
Well, my question then for Jay. Jay, did you? Because I know you've got obviously the 3 3/4 one for the world building, and I presume you must have started collecting Black Series early on. Did you collect Black Series right from Series 1?
No, I remember seeing. God, when did I start? I don't know. I remember seeing Black Series in Smiths. It was absolutely years ago, probably 2015, before they were in the. Is it the orange cards? The orange cards or the blue cards? When you
Yeah,
had
the orange cards were the original ones. That's right.
Yeah, I think they were in Smiths, and then, but I didn't jump on board at that point. I started collecting when it was the red boxes, so it must have been around the time of Force Awakens, I think, because this always winds the missus up, because I always said I was a massive Star Wars fan growing up. I used to, here's a childhood secret, I used to run around my back garden pretending I was Luke and Vader. So I'd be on the left-hand side of the garden, and I'd be playing with my fake lightsaber, and I'd go to the other side, and then I'd pretend I was Vader. So that was my childhood. And I didn't know Star Wars was an actual popular thing. I was just, my granddad used to rent the tapes for me from our local video. This is how old, bloody God, this is going back, isn't it? Our old local VHS rental store. It wasn't Blockbuster, it was an independent one. And it's called Video Nest, I think. And I remember going to his on a Saturday and we'd rent Star Wars. And I just thought it was this most fantastic thing I'd ever seen. But I had no clue as like a 7-8-year-old that it was actually a popular thing. So when like the Power of the Force 2 figures come out, I was absolutely mind blown. Oh my God, this is actually a popular thing, and there's toys and I could get. So I've still got some of my sort of Power of the Force 2 figures from back then. So yeah, big Star Wars fan, but I didn't really want to collect 3 3/4. That was my rule. So I was like, that's fine. I can just pass on Star Wars. It's in the wrong scale. But then, of course, the Black Series got really going, and I was like, okay, 6-inch. No reason not to collect it now. So off I went into a sort of Star Wars rabbit hole that has ended up with a gigantic bloody collection of. I collect too many things. That's my problem. There's too many.
I
There's
remember
too many
when they
memories
first
out there.
came out, Jay. I was really impressed with like the fact that there were 6-inch like stormtroopers and everything. I remember from the first like series, I just thought it was like amazing to actually like what you say, because we were so used to seeing them in 3 3/4 inch. It was amazing to see them in 6-inch. I remember being. I think that was back probably when there was still Toys R Us. I think from when the first series came out, the very first series, and there's a Toys R Us near me, and I remember going to see them and just mesmerized seeing them in the package, like actually seeing 6-inch, so sort of Marvel Legends scale Star Wars figures. Of course, nowadays that's the norm. All sorts of figures that are 6-inch are the norm, but back then it wasn't as common, so it was quite a big thing, wasn't it, to see the 6-inch figures? And they, but yeah, it's a rabbit hole, isn't it? It is a rabbit hole
It is.
if you go down it. Yeah.
We got a few first timers in the chat. Many Plastic Multiverse saying he started with the red boxes just before Force Awakens, and Damien saying Greedo was the first. That was quite an expensive figure now. One I think was rumored for a redo, but not bought many in the last few years. Now I've cut down on Black Series quite a bit really since I've completed most of the original trilogy and the Mandalorian. That was kind of what I wanted out of Black Series. But that's enough of Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's time for Turtles, isn't it? I think it's time for what we're here for. So let me just go and change graphic again. So let There we go. And that's the super chat one. So yeah, super chat still on the loose. So if you want to drop one of those, feel free. Thundercats. But I've made a new graphic, a new segment just for this week. What the folk, Randy? This is my new segment. What the folk, Randy? So this is, of course, our friend Randy Folk from NECA, who I'm sure doesn't make the decisions, let's be honest. But he had a catchy name, and it sounded like a rude word. So I thought I'd do What the Folk, Randy. So it's time to discuss the turtle van. So Tanner did a poll, I believe, on his Instagram. The result of it is right there in the spreadsheet, which is now too small for me to see because I'm on the wrong panel here. Now I can see it, but it looks like 73% for the infamous TMNT Sewer Lair have said no, I like it, but it's too expensive. Now I'm thinking before we even start this debate, that might be all of our answer as well. Spoiler alert, that's probably where we're going on this. And if you want my full rantings, there is a full ranting video available yesterday. I've never had a video with so many comments. Somehow it's got over 100 comments in the last 24 hours. So I think we've got quite the topic here this evening with the TMNT Sewer Lair.
One thing I will say with regards to this poll, the two people that did vote yes, I'm going to buy it, actually press that button as a joke and don't actually collect, because I saw it and I messaged him going, have I missed something here? Or to my other mate, are you going to buy me one, mate? And we both had a little laugh. So both of those, so technically that top option should be 0.
Right, okay, so it's an even more skewed poll than it is now. I've got an actual poll in the chat asking a similar thing, and I'm on completely the wrong tab to see it. So let's have a look. We've got 23 votes so far in the poll. Oh my goodness. This poll is at the moment, it's at 100%. At $300, will you still buy the Sewer Lair? It's 100%. Oh, hell no. Not one Scooby of a vote has happened here for yes, I will still buy it. So I can't vote my own poll, but yeah, the poll is there. Somebody remind me to end it later because I'll just bloody forget because it's in a different bloody tab. Right now, I need to get the NECA website up, which means I need to do a completely different screen share because it's not an Excel spreadsheet. So I now need to go to share a tab, and let's go for. We'll have a brief interlude with Turtles here. We'll just go to something nice to start off. So this is breaking news of the last sort of hour from Comic and Cocktails here in the UK. Oh, some of them have sold out already. Let me just refresh this page. So Comic and Cocktails have got a massive sale on Turtles then. So if you are after some Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, then they are £20. They have price matched B&M here in the UK. So get them while you can. I jumped in and got some Mousers and Leatherhead, and I think the Mousers have sold out already. Slash is gone. Ray Fillet is gone. I hope Dan Who got his Ray Fillet. Dan, did you get your Ray Fillet? Because, yeah, these are nuts. Any of you gents going on them? This is probably a sore topic for Tanner, unfortunately, this one.
Yeah, I'm the only idiot here who bought them when they were new at full price. So it's a sore topic to say the least here, but it's a learning experience with any future Super 7 waves. That I haven't already got pre-ordered. I will be waiting till they come down in price.
Yeah, I've made the mistake as well on a lot of Super 7 things and gone in full price pre-orders and then they've come down in price. But Turtles is the one I've been sort of backtracking on, and I think I've got literally every figure in this set. Oh yeah, there we go. Dan's got his Ray. Cheeky Monkey's just told me, so he's got his Ray Fillet. But yeah, are you in on these, Mark? Are you a Super 7?
I am, Jake. Well, I am sort of. I cherry pick. So basically, I initially got the 4 Turtles. I got Rocksteady, Bebop, Shredder, and then I think after that I've kind of cherry picked them here and there. So I did get Slash at full price, like Tanner. I'm interested in Scratch, particularly now the price he is. Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's kind of. I think that it's nice for us as collectors that they're at this price, but it's probably a little bit worrying for Super 7 overall. I think Tom was having this conversation with Tom at one point, because maybe Super 7 are just getting into too many different lines at one time, because they've got so much going on at the same time that maybe they need to focus on a few less lines, and so that they can maybe to avoid this for them. I mean, it's great for us in terms of price wise, but I can't imagine this will be the last kind of Super 7 line that we'll see at these kind of prices, or at B&M maybe, or yeah, maybe at discounted prices. So it's difficult, isn't it, with Super 7, because a lot of these, you know, it's the FOMO thing, isn't it? You see them, and or particularly if you're collecting them, you think, well, you don't want to miss out, and yeah, so you kind of maybe get them on pre-order, but maybe this is showing us that maybe we can wait. So it's because you've gone for all of them, right, Jay? In terms of previously to this, you've got or basically more or less all of them, right?
Pretty much, yeah. The only things I haven't gone for are the variations of the turtles. I've just got the regular turtles rather than getting all the mixed versions. But in
I
terms
doubt
of
you
what
would
was
have got the glow in the dark ones either. Is that right,
no,
Jay?
no, that is correct. No, I didn't go in on glow in the dark. Just I got 4 bog standard normal turtles is all I've gone for on this one. There was Mark was saying, like, this whole pre-order thing with Super 7, it's just the problem is it does come back to bite you sometimes, like the recent Power Rangers with the was it the White Tigers order? They've cancelled now because they're not.
And
I
Madam
wanted
Woe.
that. Yeah, I am Madam Woe. Yeah, because I was definitely all in on the Power Rangers, wanted all of them, and I thought I won't pre-order because they'll probably end up in the sale. And then now they've just gone and bloody cancelled them. The same as some of the Disney figures. So you've got that debate of do you pre-order, and if you don't, you might not actually get the figure at all. But then you don't want to go and overpay by, like, these are in a 70% off sale. I think they've worded it at in there. So it is a tough one. But as Mark said, there's so many different lines from them. They need to, I think, a bit of focusing might actually help them in the long run. I think we had a question here that Tanner might be able to answer. You've got Krang. Have you opened your Krang, Tanner, from this?
No, I haven't opened any of them yet, to be totally honest with you. I opened the mouses, that was pretty much it, and then put them back.
Yeah,
But I haven't got anywhere to display them, so they're literally sitting in their boxes. I've got a corner, I've got Super 7 corner in my room, basically, of unopened Super 7s, basically, at the moment.
Yeah, no, as I know Damien was asking about Krang's legs, because I know they're notoriously wobbly, but probably a bit of what do I use? I was going to say Mod Podge. I don't use Mod Podge. I use a Kiki. That's it. Kiki Loose Fix. That seems to do most things if you've got a bit of a wobbly leg on old Krang there. And Dan was looking forward to Whoopi Goldberg, apparently. That's another one that got cancelled. I'm sure that's pure sarcasm there. But I'm sure Rich wanted Whoopi Goldberg. So lots of cancellations from Super 7. But that's our little Brian Frinn segment there. Right. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. We cannot delay it any longer. It is the debate you've all been waiting for. It is the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sewer Madness. Let me press share this screen instead. We should then be seeing the correct screen as we are there. So last night I jumped on for a quick sort of almost rant video just to get my raw reaction out there. And oh my goodness me, I still don't know how I feel about this. This is just utter insanity. So if you've been out of the loop for the last 24 hours, last night, 5 p.m. UK time, NECA decided to drop the much anticipated, the long awaited, over 1 year in the making SDCC 2022. It was announced, the Sewer Lair. We've all been waiting for it. We've got our accessory sets ready to go. If you haven't got one, you can pre-order one now as well. So stick that on the price if you haven't got this bad boy. So we've got that ready to go. We're waiting. The space has been cleared in my toy room, and then they hit us with it. And did they hit us with it? And they hit us internationals with it. And especially if you're in Europe, I've been told as well from some of the comments, and Australia is even worse than it is here. They hit us with $300. I'll just say that again in case you didn't know. $300. Plus, don't forget the plus. There is a plus coming here. $80 UK shipping. I've been reliably informed if you're in Europe, to Germany, somebody in my comments told me, $156 shipping. And I believe somebody said it was Australia that may have been $169. It might have been wrong on that one, but it was definitely $156 to Europe. So you're talking over £300, probably near €400. Let's just get opening thoughts of the debate. We will jump to the boys because I've said enough. Somebody talk. My God.
Well, Tanner,
So I'll let Mark go. You want me to start? Okay, that's fine. So I think they've missed the mark with this. It looks, if it was sold at what 175 to 200, it would have sold gangbusters. So many people would have got one. So many people would have got two. To be honest with you, because the way they were advertising it is you can buy one for a living room, and two, buy a second one, you can get a garage for it for the turtle van. Now, a lot of us have a turtle van coming, and they are looking like they're shipping soon, based on emails that are coming out. So if it's just this price, the shipping is the next point. They've taken the haul-a-thon shipping standard for everybody outside of the US and decided to think, let's fuck them over. When we all saw it at SDCC and they were going, oh yeah, maybe it'll be 225. Everybody was like, all right, it's a little bit pricier than we would have liked, but it's worth biting the bullet. Now, the other point I thought of a little bit earlier today was if these don't sell well, and for the ones that do pick it up, if FOMO hits anybody that has missed out, the aftermarket prices are going to be ridiculous. Now, but again, for those of you who have been following Legends of Liquor, I've not got a car anymore at the moment. I'm hunting for a new car. That's my main priority. I think if I wasn't hunting for a new car, I may have thought about one possibly, but now it's not even an option at this point in time. I've made my priorities. This is just a little bit too pricey than I want to spend. Again, as I said, 175 to 200 would have been that sweet spot. It would have sold so much. It's as much as I want it, I'm going to have to say no in this point. And this coming from me, who literally has almost everything turtles, is saying something. The fact I'm saying no, to be honest with you, I want it, yes, but not at this price. Unfortunately.
No, it's crazy. Mark, your opening comments.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it looks good. I guess there's a lot of thoughts going around in my head with it, Jay. I remember when it was revealed, I thought it looked really good. I liked it was an animated diorama. At the time, I thought, oh, it's nice. We're getting a diorama. You know, we hadn't really got loads of those on the market at the time. When obviously since then we've had other things revealed like Super 7 Thundercats Lair and so on and so forth. I think I guess in terms of the price, sticking with the price, what I'd like is I'd just like NECA to come out and kind of give us a kind of, marketing spiel about why it should be that, what they've put into it that they feel is that price, just so that among, beyond anything else, we as collectors can kind of get a sense of understanding of where that price is gone, because like we were talking about this yesterday on Dan Who's live stream, it's a bit hard to. What's even worse is, I think, or as far as I'm concerned, we're in the dark a bit over where this price is generated, right? Like, because you and Tanner both being Turtles collectors more than myself, probably really want it. But I'm sure you're quite keen to learn from NECA where the price has gone into it, so that at least even if you don't agree with it, you can get some kind of initial thoughts on it. But it's nice, but yeah, I can't understand where that price has come from. So I guess that's my initial opening thoughts, Jay. And yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think they've got to come out and explain this. One thing, as you say, with Brian Flynn from Super 7, you may not agree with what Brian says, but he does come out and at least give us some form of spiel over where it's come from. And the fact that he's always said that vehicles are much more expensive to make in terms of parts and pieces than play sets. And I just cannot understand. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, I think is the phrase I would actually use for this. It's like being at school, isn't it? When your teacher tells you off, because I'm like, I've wanted, since they showed this a year ago, I have wanted this. I cleared space literally like day one when they announced this was actually going to be a thing, because I, like with Tanner as well, massive turtle fan. Look, I'm on a bloody live stream in a lime green bloody turtle top. how much more like turtle fan can I be? And I've bought every single figure from the cartoon range, apart from I think I didn't get the Bebop Bunny and Rocksteady. But apart from that, I think I've got everything in the line, and this would be a great little play set for it. But I just don't understand the price, because if we go back to their previous releases, like the Sewer Lair, not the Sewer Lair, the Street Scene diorama was 150 for the cartoon version, and even cheaper for the regular version. That's on at about 125. So that's 150, and that has, as Todd would say, that's a lot of plastic, and there's more plastic in that than there is in this. I think Tanner's mentioned before, what's it bloody made out of? Is it got some super thick plastic to actually hold up the diorama on top? That is it a material cost that's causing this, or is there literally no reason? And they thought we'd give them a really good deal on that turtle van, because I don't think none of us complained at 250. I think for the turtle van, they thought actually let's try and get some of our money back from that, and maybe overcharge them on this one to claw back, because they've retooled that turtle van, haven't they? Thinking about this, they've retooled that turtle van and they've put lights in it, and they've not upped the price. So is this purely a, can we get, now I've had a bit of time to think about it after my initial rant last night, is this just trying to think, oh, they'll pay it anyway, stick a bit on this so we can get something back from the van? Any thoughts on that, Tanner?
Yeah, I mean that would make sense because I was going to mention that as well, because they have retooled the van. Yeah, probably that retooling price has been added onto this. I can imagine that. The other thing I will say is with NECA releases this entire year, it's too much. It's too much. Everything is too much. It's getting too, and this is just like, for me, the straw that's breaking the camel's back, because you got Mirage, you got Ronin, you got Archie. They started. You got the cartoon sets with everything that come out in March, April at Haulathon, and we got another one of these Geek Autumn Fallouts coming up soon. How much more are they gonna, for lack of a better term, gouge us? It's just madness. It's crazy. It's crazy. Again, I know Alexi did make the comparison to this price wise to the Engine of Vengeance. You feel like you're getting a lot more value in that than you are with this, and this is almost as much, if not more. I don't know. I can't remember the price, but still, it's as much as I would like to add this to my collection, as much as I want it. Priorities here are playing a big part for me. Yeah, main thing about priorities. Now I know they have options where you can pay 4 interest-free installments or 12 payments of 20 odd pounds or stuff like that. But do you really want to give them the message that this is okay? Now I know if this doesn't sell well, the kitchen and the Donny's Lair won't be made. So I think somebody's out and said that. Depending on the sales of this, the other will decide what happened with the other two. It's a very nice piece, but not £380 shipped nice for me.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's just, I think the whole community is in agreement on this one. I know there was an absolute uproar over, you say, the Engine of Vengeance, and people not thinking the value was there in the base offering. There's still a debate, was it there if all the tiers were met? But I think, quite honestly, this is 10 times worse than that. You were saying there was no value there, a lot of people, but what is this? It just doesn't make sense. There is no way I can fathom this being more than sort of 200 at a push. I would say if we're talking a base price of 150 for their previous offerings, well, let's stick inflation on. So let's stick 10% on at least, but let's stick 20% on. You're talking, if you stick 20% on that, that's $180 for the last couple of years inflation. Fine. So 180, not a problem. Push me to 200. Okay, I would accept it. I would accept 200. But for another $100 more than I think anybody is reasonably to accept, and then it's the absolute killer, is the shipping on top, because NECA shipped that, as I was saying in the whole raw reaction yesterday, NECA shipped that top piece for, I think it was like £9. And the same for the turtle van. It was like £9 or £10 shipping or something. This goes to $80. Where's that come from? There's a comment here. Yashik here in the chat. Hello, Yashik. I think first time I've seen that name. So yeah, Central European shipping was, yeah, what I said earlier, $157. So double the UK shipping if you're in Central Europe as well. So that's going to go over £400, isn't it? And that is without tax, because here in the UK, if it's over £135, we pay the import tax directly to UK customs. So if NECA ship this correctly by the proper channels, you can add another sort of £60 on, £60-70 on for limit tax.
The thing is with that though, NECA generally use Every when it comes over to the UK, and I've never been charged customs from Every. They've lost my packages, but I've never been charged customs from Every at all, and every single time that's come. So maybe a case of, I can imagine that shipping price includes the tax, the customs charges, this, that, and the other all in it. So that theoretically would make a lot more sense than just £87, purely because of the fact. Now, again, it comes to them to communicate this to us because it's just pure speculation. I know previously with NECA items, we've been charged $8 shipping international.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And now it's gone up to this. It may be as it's the case of. Yeah, I think it probably is that shipping includes the customs charges,
I
and
think
all
it
of
says
that.
in the terms and conditions on the international, when I got through to it, it doesn't. It says taxes to be added. So
Okay.
from what I was reading, it doesn't. It's just the fact you say Every used to be Hermes here in the UK. I don't think they really give a crap about import tax. They just let it through. But did they happen to use Royal Mail that they used once from NECA on the previous item for me, and it goes over the tax limit, then Royal Mail usually hit you for it as well. So it would just be, I think, a bit of luck if it goes with Every or it goes with the Royal Mail, and then you could add another charge on top. But it's just the base price. I think the whole community, because I was watching Mad Hatter's live stream at 5 p.m. yesterday. I had this open, I refreshed. I thought a bit of hope, because there was rumors flying, wasn't there, that it was 300. People were talking to NECA at PowerCon, and they were saying it was 300. But
yeah, I know Nick was at PowerCon. Thirsty for Chicken. He was at PowerCon, and he said they told him it was 300. As soon as we heard that, it's kind of like, is this really the case? Are they mistaken?
Yeah, I was thinking, they've got to be mistaken. Maybe they're sort of overselling it, because Trevor at Comic Con had said in Pixel Dan's video that, I think he said he thought it was in the region of 250. Clearly, he misthought there, or they decided to change it later. So I thought, maybe they're just overselling it. They're saying, it's 300, just to soften the blow when it actually was 250, because I think we would have probably kicked off as just as much at 250, especially if they stuck 80 for shipping on top. But I thought, they're just going to soften the blow. It's not going to be 300. But then it was 300. It's on your screen right now. You can see $299. I think Mad Hatter in his video was saying that for taxes and shipping for the US, they were still talking $360 once you added their taxes and shipping on. So I just cannot get my head around where this cost is coming from. It's literally double the price it should be. And they have the cheek to tell you to buy two of the things to make one into a bloody garage. Like, if you'd have lowered your price, if this was 175, I think people would have bought multiples. I wouldn't have bought multiples of this particular one. I'd have waited for the other versions, and then I would have bought the whole set. Because I was thinking $500 all in for all three sets. But at this, you're talking, like, I've got another tab to share here. I just share this one, because if you buy two of these, look what you could have instead. You could go to your mate Brian and have a bloody cat's lair that's absolutely enormous. The thing lights up. It looks fantastic, and that's $650. So how on earth, Mark, explain to me how this is $650 and this is $300. Give me tax economics.
Yeah, I unfortunately, it's one that's gone beyond me, Jay. But One thing I think, Jay, that's quite, you know, if you're say like I don't know how if like say all right, to make a comparison, people get into Marvel Legends, like new collectors come into Marvel Legends all the time, right? And with NECA releasing the animated Turtles as Ultimates versions again, I mean, it's something I definitely thought because I didn't have those animated Turtles, and I thought, oh, I could maybe I'd picked up one or two of the animated Turtles here and there, and I thought, oh, you know, as in the figures, I'd picked up Rocksteady and Bebop 2-pack. I thought I can get those animated Turtles and maybe get a few other things, but as like me, for example, coming in as a fairly new collector, it's quite daunting to think if you wanted to get everything, if you were a new collector, wanted to get those Ultimate Turtles, wanted to make an animated Turtles collection, it's quite daunting to think that the play set that you'd need to make a completion is like nearly $300. And the thing is, obviously, all of us collect other lines. Like you're obviously getting into Mondo, you know, Tanner, Power Rangers, Turtles, other lines. So it's not like we only collectors out there are only collecting these animated turtles. So I know NECA are a business. I know they've got, like everything else, they've got to make ends meet with their business. But yeah, it's beyond me as well. It is definitely beyond me, especially when you like what you said. You look at the Cat's Lair, which obviously did seem expensive, but it did seem like there was a lot of value to that at the same time, and it's crowdfunded. And yeah, this is just like one playset. And I agree with what Tanner was saying, and yourself. I think it should be around the $175 mark. I think that'd be a perfect sweet spot. But I can't. Yeah, I'm wondering where this price has come from. And I think if there were some kind of NECA, official press sheet about it or something, at least I could understand. Like if he spoke to Pixel Dan or someone or Mad Hatter, NECA, and they sort of explain everything. At least you could understand what they're trying to get across in the price. But at the moment, it's like none of us can we? I don't think so.
I mean, the customer service is awful as it is anyway, trying to get through to them.
Yeah, you just get a load of generic answers usually when you're in your live chat with them, and they don't do what they. Yeah, they're not the greatest, are they, for customer service? Our friends at NECA. It's just I'm still absolutely 24 hours later repeating the same thing, but I just do not understand how it's $300 plus shipping. It just doesn't make sense. At least with like Galactus and things, yeah, it was 400, but you can see where the value is. You can see where the articulation's put in, the lighter features. You may not agree with the 400 and think it should be a 300, but at least you're in the ballpark, aren't you? You're close, like the Engine of Vengeance or anything. You think, okay, it could be overpriced. That's perfectly fine if you think it's overpriced or you think it's okay, but you're probably within maybe $100 range. But this is not even in that. It's double, I think, what anybody thinks it should be. There's a lot of people, I think, thinking you got both pieces because they showed the garage, sort of the garage version at PowerCon. So I think people thought you got both pieces, and I was starting to wonder, oh, if it is 300, is it because you get a back as well? You get both pieces, but you don't. You just get one piece. Now it is long. It's a bit bigger than I thought it was in terms of length. I thought it'd be about 23 inches, but it says it's 25. If I go back to the right screen, I think we can get the dimensions are on here for us somewhere. Where's my dimensions? There we are. So you're talking 25 inches in length, 12.75 in height, and 15 inches in depth. Now, for me, that is, I've just chucked my phone on the floor. That is literally the exact size of where I was going to put it. My shelf is 26.5 inches wide. It's 13 inches tall, and it's 15 inches deep. So the real kicker to me, having wanted this for so long, is it's the exact, and I mean literally to the inch, the right size to go in my display. But I'm with what Tanner was saying. I can't justify the price, and I kind of now don't want to back it because I almost feel if I do back it, I've said to them, okay, I'll pay it, and I'm going to cause another problem later down the line by them actually almost validating their price. So, which I don't want to do because I don't want to. Yeah, it almost sounds like a one-man protest, but if we were all to do the same thing and this doesn't sell, then that surely has to. Sometimes it is about more trying to, I think, to send a message that no, this is not acceptable. We're not willing to pay that much. And with such a quick turnaround on it as well into December, you've got to think they say it's made to order, but do you think this is already in quite late stages of production and they're actually going to have to make it anyway? So if they don't sell, they're going to have to do something with them. So our mates, Tanya, you've mentioned about AliExpress. Do you think our mates AliExpress could potentially get this in if it doesn't sell or anything? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, that would be fully dependent on, as Dan was saying yesterday, if they get the turtle ban in, because they've never had any high price, high quality items in, high end items in from the NECA line. It's always just been the figures. The highest pricing are generally the 4-packs that do come in. Again, if they bring in the van, then it's a positive. If the shipping will be a lot cheaper than if we were to get it direct from NECA, whether or not the entire price itself would be cheaper would be another question. But yeah, it's a possibility, and if it is, we shall see.
Yeah, I'm still in shock. Literally, I don't know. I shouldn't get so mad over toys, really, but this just doesn't. It just does. It's because I can't get my head around it, and it doesn't actually make sense. Some things you think are overpriced because they probably are overpriced, but you're close. You can get the idea. But I think Mark's made the best point here. They've got to come out and say where they've got this from, because nobody. I don't know. I think somebody said earlier, what's it made out of? Like metal? This is die cast. Like, are you justifying the
I
price
think.
that way?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, I can gauge that from listening to you speak, Jay. That I think, obviously with you being a turtle collector and what you've said about how you've made room for it and you've made the perfect amount of room for it, it must be frustrating because you're in the dark at the minute about where this price has come from. I think I'm curious about certain things. Tanner will probably be able to answer this as well, and yourself. But is it something that only the NECA website is going to have? Is it something that maybe our UK independents might get? Because it's not crowdfunded. So it's something that our UK independents might get down the line. I mean, with it not being crowdfunded as well, and probably with the chances of it coming out so soon, like Tanner says, I think it probably would have to be in production. But surely it's going to drop in price. Surely, if with it, I mean, it's got to, hasn't it? I imagine. But I guess. I mean, what do you think, Tanner? Do you think it's something that our UK and Jay? Do you think it's something our UK independents may get, or?
I think this is a little bit too niche for the UK independents to pick up. Hopefully, I'm wrong, because I know some of the UK independents tend to make things a little bit cheaper than they would do it here. Now, before this, if you were to, I'm going to make another comparison here, like price wise. Before this, if you were to ask Tom, there would have been another thing I was on the fence about, and which is a similar thing, a similar price to this, and it's a Mezco. It's that Mech Mezco with the Agent Gomez. Now that's what 350. Now you can, out of all the videos I've seen of that looks quality. And every video I see, every photograph I see, it makes me kind of want it even more. This doesn't do that for me. And the fact that, again, you can speak to Tom and see how much I'm on the fence, deliberating about jumping on that wait list for that thing. Again, this has, even without the car and whatnot, that seems a lot more worth my while than this does. And I'm a Turtles guy. So it's a case of, yeah, I think I'd love it if the UK sellers do bring it over. I don't think they will because the cartoon dial never came over. And I don't think anywhere has the van either. They have the Super 7 van, not the NECA van. So
NECA's UK distribution on this cartoon turtle line has been terrible for the last 18 months. So this is why we mention our Uncle Ali so much, because we have had no option, literally, but to go to AliExpress to get a lot of these comic book cartoon style turtle figures, because they haven't actually had any UK distribution. I think it's got to be maybe nearly 2 years now since we actually had the cartoon sets have come over. You've either got to order direct from NECA or go through AliExpress. I don't know. The Mirage stuff, that's coming over. The Last Ronin's coming over. But the movie stuff and the cartoon stuff, NECA just seem to have completely stopped international distribution and just sell it through their own site completely. We've had no choice at all. I was looking at some pictures earlier, and it was of like the last thing they had in the UK, which was like the Splinter 2-pack, the Triceratons 2-pack, but that was well over 2 years ago. So I don't think this is coming at all to the UK independents, because they seem to have. I don't know. Again, there's no explanation for that. It's just there is a lack of communication. I think NECA's communication is as bad as Mezco's. Mezco's don't communicate anything to us. We have 3-year delays with literally no explanation at all. And this is exactly the same on their international distribution. You don't get any answers from customer service, do you? I know Tanner's contacted them, and I've contacted them. They just don't give you anything. So,
although in saying that, I know the sculptor of this has been answering a lot of questions from that I see on the Facebook groups. The sculptor who worked on this, who put all his love in on this, he's not quite understanding. Yeah, okay, he can see where all the disdain and the hate is coming from because of the price, but he's putting all this work and all this love into this item for everybody to come out and just be like negative, poo-pooing it because of the price. Because I don't want to say corporate greed, because we don't know that. But it's a case of, yeah, and I know, I can't remember who he was speaking to, probably Dan. He's going, oh, I may speak to the guys at NECA to see if they can budge on the price a little bit because of all the work that's been put in. And he wants to see the other two things he's helped design go out, not have a bad rap, not yeah, so not have a bad rap and not be hated on because he's put in. You can tell. I mean, the work he's put in on this, yeah, it's you can tell the love is there. It looks like it's from the cartoon, but it's just not worth that price. To me, it's not worth that price. And to be honest with you, I'm going to answer Tom's question I saw in the comment. He goes, I thought you were on the wait list for that thing. I was, but I cancelled. So I'm now no longer on that wait list for that mech. But yeah, again, the guys who's put in all the work on this, they don't deserve the hate for some, because they have no choice in the pricing. They just design it and they try and do the best they can with what they've got.
No, you're perfectly right. It's a lot of love and effort does go into these figures, and you do feel bad for somebody that's made such an effort to actually make the thing. When you think, yeah, I suppose NECA's a corporation like any other, so it isn't the people on the ground level, is it? It's not the people we see and the people we sculpt. The same with the Marvel Legends team that get a lot of flack that's unfounded because it isn't their choice. They're just doing a job. It's the higher ups. It's the management themselves that make these decisions on the pricing, and they just have to do as they're told. I suppose Mad Hatter's got a great video on this. I think he's just done it. What's he called it? Johnny Markup. I think the events of Johnny Markup I watched before the stream as they say the price coming in at 215. Does a great little skit. So do go watch Mad Hatter. He does absolutely tickle me. But it's that corporate mindset, isn't it? Of I potentially squeeze what you can out of them. But I think there is sometimes like when you just have to kind of make a stand and say, no, I'm not gonna get it. Let's see how the poll's going. How's the poll? Anybody actually? Well, we must have had. Oh, we got 39 votes in the poll. 95% says hell no, and 5% say, yep, sign me up. So we've probably got about 1 or 2 votes that people are still getting this. Now, I'd love to vote. I'm still getting it, but I just can't do it. It just doesn't. I cannot justify this. Now, how much I want it, that's the problem. I'm like, will I crack at the end of all this? Sound like an absolute hypocrite, and on like 1 day to go, think, oh, I've got the space, it's perfect, just get it. But I'm trying to stay strong, so please hold me accountable, everybody. I cannot buy this, but I still this is the main thing. It's really just getting on my tits. It's the fact that it looks great, it looks brilliant. I want the thing, but I can't justify that price to myself. So if I can't justify it to myself, I'm like, well, you shouldn't get it then, should you? The point Tanner made earlier, I think, about secondary market prices. Yeah, this is probably going to be astronomical on the secondary market, but will anybody actually pay that? I think Tanner, yesterday you were talking about the price of the movie version of the Street Scene. That's an absolute killer thing to get now. But
yeah, well,
that's less than this, isn't it?
It's 200. I mean, I don't know if there are any up at the moment. Generally, that's up for 200, and that's a reasonable price. Well, considering what it is, it's a con exclusive. They haven't made any more. I don't think they're planning on making any more. And it's a case of, yeah, it just looks so good with my movie figures. You can see it up there in the corner, next to my cartoon one, just next to it. But it's a worthwhile purchase. But again with these, because also you got the picture up now. The cardboard, the thing they've put to hold up the diorama. I mean, when they first said it, we was under the impression it's going to be something that hooks in, looks nice, and looks good. This is just something you place on top of this and then put the diorama on top. I could have done that with a plank of wood.
Yeah, this is why I went to this. I think our final point on it is how does it attach, really? So I'm gonna. I don't. This doesn't make sense either. I'm exactly with Tanner there. The way they sold it, this was going to clip on, and it was going to be quite sturdy. But now they haven't said in the description here. Now, if we scroll down to this picture, you can see on the bottom right-hand side there, you can see the road piece they sold us on top here. That what's it made of? That's the thing they haven't said. It looks like thick cardboard or foam board with the way it's printed, but surely it can't be foam board or cardboard to hold the quite heavy street scene diorama. It's just going to sag in the middle. There doesn't seem to be any, and it doesn't clip on. It just sits there. So if you take the street scene, it hasn't got a lot of struts underneath. It's going to need some sort of support there. But I don't know. Mark, talk to me. What's going on here?
Well, I agree with you, Jay. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it can be. I would have thought it can't be cardboard or foam board either, because that thing is heavy. I know I had the street scene previously, and it's a heavy diorama. So, yeah, it's. But again, I'm a bit like you in the way that I'm lost for words because there's nothing to describe any of it from NECA or give us a kind of a press release or anything. It's all guesswork, isn't it? So I think the thing that's a shame or kind of, I guess, as an overall thing or a bit sad is because I know for you, and I can totally appreciate it, that it would look really cool with all these, because the other one is a kitchen, isn't it? And the other one's Donatello's like lair or something, or lab, isn't it? With the kind of the portal that goes, you can see Usagi Yojimbo in or something like that. But yeah, that would look really cool, all those together, and the street scene above it. And so I totally feel your pain in that price wise, it is a bit of a blow, because it would look really good all together. It would look like a centerpiece to the collection, all of it together. So it's just, I think we just need someone out there, if one of the YouTubers who speaks to NECA regularly needs to do a video just having a Q&A with them, and just just asking about it. It doesn't have to be confrontational or anything like that. I mean, it just asking about it so we just get some clarity, really. But yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And I think we've got the green one showing us. We have a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this one in there. It's our YouTube friend and mentor himself. He's let us free tonight on our own. It's Dan who himself with the $4.99. Thank you, Dan. He says, does this help change your mind about the turtle there? Now it's only $294.99. So thank you for the $4.99, Dan. It's reduced it down a little smidge there. But no, I'm afraid it doesn't help me change my mind at the moment, because this is nuts. I think actually he said earlier himself about the price being absolutely nuts on this one. There's so many people in the chat tonight. I literally cannot keep up with you all. So thank you everybody for being here. We've got some astronomical numbers going on in the chat. So I'll have to try and read
Jay,
it.
I'm going to
on the replay.
ask you one thing. Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to ask you one thing just while you pull up chats. You've recently, as you said at the start of the chat, the stream, just got into the Mondo. I'm going to ask what you would prefer, because you can pick up 2, maybe 3 Mondos for the price of this. What would you prefer to have?
I'd honestly prefer to get the Mondos. Having these things in hand, I can see where the price comes from on them, and it's absolutely justified. So 2 Mondos minimum for the price. Some of the smaller ones are a bit cheaper, but 2 Mondos, I'd go with the Mondos, which is unusual for me. Is a massive. It's so weird because I'm such a massive turtle fan too. The fact that I'm saying no to this it's unbelievable to me, because I'm the absolute sucker that would buy this. So if they can't get me to buy it, then they've got they've got problems. It just doesn't make sense. I'm going to pull up one more spreadsheet here. Let me just change the stop sharing from that, because I've got a point to make about it stacking on top, because I've found a picture of something I was talking about in a video. So I just need to share a different screen with you. So present, share screen, go back to the older spreadsheet itself. Now we should be seeing on the screen now the what the fault Grandy. It's again our redo of this segment. So I have over superimposed Tanner's poll there, and I have added a picture that I found earlier, one of the, I think the TMNT Party Wagon Facebook group, of somebody taking a picture of this at POWERCON. And as you can see, you can now see the outside of the wall. And as you will clearly see here, it's not painted, it's not sculpted, it's just like the inner molding of the plastic. So surely for £300, they're not going to leave it almost unfinished like this. Because if you want to display this, for me, I was going to display it in a cube where both sides were shut, so you wouldn't see the outside anyway. But the way they're selling it is you put this on top of, sorry, underneath the street scene. And on the street scene, you'll be able to see it from both sides. And from both sides, on the outside, you've got your fully painted walls. But you're going to see your lovely fully painted wall on the street scene come down and just have unpainted, inverted, molded plastic on the outside. They haven't actually sculpted the outside of the wall, so you can. What are they doing? Surely that cannot be the final product. But there's no pictures of that on the solicitation at all. There's no video like of a 360 going around it of what it actually looks like. So is this just, excuse me, a prototype at POWERCON, and it will be fully done, or won't it? Because if it isn't done, it's the 300 is just even worse.
Now, if we again go back to the street dials, because yes, they have the sides, but if you look at it from the back, it's the exact same from the back.
Yeah.
But what they've done is they've given us a piece of scenery card to cover up the back, so you don't see any of that. So, all right, yeah, you can put people inside there looking out the window and whatnot. I don't see how you could do that with this, because for like background, especially if you want like people, the turtles going from room to room. But I think the idea maybe behind this is because there's more than one room. If you connect the two rooms together, then you won't see it because you got the two rooms connected together. And then if you've got it lined up, maybe one end lined up against the wall, you've got 2-3 rooms next to another, and it takes up an entire shelf space. Where the other end is lined up at a wall, you won't see any of that because the sheer length of it is going to take up an entire shelf. So from wall to wall, maybe it's planning. That's why they haven't done that, because they plan on this connecting to the other ones.
Yeah, no, that could be a point. That's something I haven't thought of, but on the, you'd have to go, okay. You'd have to go right to the outside so you maybe wouldn't see it. They had shown that it looked like on the original pictures that maybe they're going to provide some form of cardboard backdrop, maybe, because the holes where you get in the sewer look like they had like a black backdrop on some of the previous photos, where again, this at POWERCON is just a completely open hole. So, but of course, that could be all out the window, because if they are making just this one, because it's a complete cock up, nobody goes for it apart from just a select few that get this, and they don't continue any further, then you might have the problem that I'm suggesting. You can't extend it any further, and you're just going to see this at the bottom, which would just look utterly ridiculous. So I don't know. But then I think Many Plastic Multiverse has said in the chat, and I briefly saw one there, about it does look like foam board, the road piece on top, because you could see some of the indentations in it. So it can't be foam board, can it? It can't be, but it looks. I don't know what they're doing. So the internals look great, but there's questions on the roof and there's questions on the outside, and all that. Have that for your 300 NECA. So yeah, I'm just lost for word. Any final thoughts on this one, gentlemen? I think to summarize this up before we literally go all night talking about the turtles, bloody sewer diorama.
Well, I'll let Tanner go first. He's the turtle expert. So Tanner, what are your thoughts?
I mean, as much as I would like this, and again, I've said it multiple times, I'd love to pick this up. It's unfeasible at the moment, unless maybe I get a nice big win on the lottery, and can afford it like that because I have a nice big win on the lottery. But the chances of that happening when I don't play is literally zero. So, um, yeah, I think it is what it is. It's the case of thank you for showing it and thank you for bringing it in. It's not for me, and we're pretty much done with it. I mean, I know with if you ask Dan, with those glow in the dark Super 7 turtles, I was like, no, 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 and then I did pick it up. This is completely different vibe to that for me. This is definitely no way, no, not unless they bring it down in price, especially with my situation going on at the moment, looking for a car. If I wasn't looking for a car, then maybe the possibility would have been a lot higher. But I'm not going to buy a cheap banger just for the sake of picking this up. I know I'll enjoy the car a lot more than I will this, especially with, as I've mentioned earlier, there's other things at this price point that excite me a lot more than this does.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Mark, any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, I think from what I've sort of gathered this evening, Jay, the more we've analysed this, the more sort of confusing and sort of mind-boggling it becomes. I think it's not. It's the price, isn't it? I mean, that's the overall factor because it is quite a nice looking thing. It would be a centre, it would be a nice display centerpiece. With all three rooms, and the street scene above it. It would look great altogether. It's just the cost is like, and I think Tanner sums it up really well that there's things that are the same price which having added lights, added sounds, added features, and you can see, and yeah, and you said that as well yourself, Jay, with the Sentinel things like that. That you can see the value, but it's just none of us know. Do we're all guessing? We're all speculating here because NECA haven't said anything to us directly. And the other thing is, well, I guess it's two things really. One is that I'm guessing, obviously, the Turtles must be now probably NECA's most successful line. It probably was horror originally. It's probably the Turtles now. Perhaps that success has kind of, don't want to say gone to their head, but maybe a little bit gone to the head because they're charging such a high amount for this diorama piece. I mean, in a sense, it is kind of essential if you do want a complete animated look, but you could have a customizer make it or something like that, make a version. But then there are other companies making turtle figures, so if you can sort of like have it's not to say we may not get another type of diorama, obviously not an animated one, but maybe Brian Flynn, with the success of the Cat's Lair, must be thinking about maybe a Technodrome or something like that. And if he's thinking about that, a layer may not be out of the I mean, it wouldn't be animated, but may not be impossible, so you could mix them together, a kind of second best scenario. So a lot of companies are making turtle figures now in a more or less kind of scale of NECA. So and Ramen Toys, of course, is always there in the background, eyeing these things up. So I mean, they're going to be one of the first people who jump on an alternative if this doesn't work out. So
Yeah.
there is that at the end of the day. I guess there is maybe that option. So yeah, I guess we just all got to wait and see, don't we? Really, that's probably my final thought. And we just got to wait and see.
You've just reminded me of High School Creations' recent Kickstarter where he did the wall
Yeah.
piece, didn't he? So
Yeah.
some of the independent almost come up with as you were saying, potentially Ramen Toy. I think somebody said Legends of Liquor. He was there with his tape measure, wasn't he? Ace from Ramen Toy, measuring this up for the Tortoise
funny you should say
House,
that,
as
Jay,
I say.
because as soon as the
I mean,
price
one other
oh yeah, go on, Tanner,
one other option that people have been doing, from what I see on Facebook, is they've been getting the layer from the Mutant Mayhem Playmates. That's what, £50?
Yeah, I think
So they've been getting that even so, they've been getting that to substitute in place of this because so it's another option there, basically.
That thing's bigger than this because I've seen that at Smith's. The amount of layers, I was always tempted to buy that previously, or you've got the customizer option. So I've seen all the Facebook groups are blowing up with every custom dia maker in the world coming out of the woodwork. So there is plenty of options out there, I think, for either having a go yourself. I was thinking about getting the foam board out and the craft knife and having a and having a go. But it at the end of the day, it's 3 walls, a floor, and what we've now discovered we think is a foam bowled roof. 300 nuts. I think that literally sums up what they want for this. So I also have decided I cannot get this. I just, even how much I want it, I just can't do it. I would feel morally like wrong. I just can't do it. So
I think
I've bought
if
something else
Kiara,
instead.
if Kiara had anything to say about it, you're meant to be saving for a wedding, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yes. So in talking of that, then, so I have gone out to stop myself buying this. I've gone and bought something else instead. So if I share this tab, you will see where I've been and what I've done. So I have gone over to our friends here in the UK at Props and Replicas, and I have gone to Extreme Sets that make their cardboard sort of display areas, because I have bought one of these Extreme Sets for my Transformers collections, and to be honest, it looks quite good as a background piece. So I got the last one in. I did this last night at about probably about midnight. I went on there, and I think I've got the last one in the UK of this animated Sewer Lair 2.0. I don't think I can make the picture any bigger, unfortunately, from there. But they have got 4 pieces. Now, each one is the size of a D12 cube, exactly the right size. So I have got 2 turtle shelves, and 2 of these side by side will cover both turtle shelves. So for £60, I've got myself 4 pieces that will cover both shelves right in the background, and they look just like the animated version of the turtles. Yes, they're not 3D pieces, but however, I've of course got myself the accessory set. So I've got the TV, I've got the little Splinters rug in another set. So I'm going to put this right at the back, so it's going to take up less space, so there's more space for figures, and it's just going to be a backdrop representing what could have been. So that is what I've done to try and stop myself actually even getting more tempted by this. But if you had more space than me, for £80, you can get this version of the Extreme set, which again, I can't get. That's probably a little better picture to show you the details of what it kind of looks like there. But that thing is over 40 inches, that version. It's full pop-up diorama. So you could get something like that as a much, much cheaper alternative, and then put your actual NECA accessories in there, park your turtle van in there, and I think it's going to do the job for what I would need it to do. So that's what I've done. Or you've got the custom versions, you've got Etsy stores out there, and you've got Facebook groups, and you've got your own craft skills to maybe do this. So that's what I did. Anybody think that's a good idea, or have I just
I think that's a
wasted
great
60 quid?
idea, Jay. The other thing, Jay, because I've had those Extreme sets before, they are really good. Like you say, they're really, really good for photography and display and all that, and they pop up really easily. Big Bad Toy Store do a lot of to 1/12 scale kind of third party dioramas from companies, and I'm sure you know they must going to make some kind of version of a Turtles layer. But yeah, again, Extreme sets, they're really good. I think this is great, and it looks animated. If you look at the kind of walls, looking at the picture there, you can see it's got a nice animated type look to it. So I think this is a great option, Jay. Yeah, it's a great sort of alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I think just to fill the gap. So I think we can't really say much more in this, can we? We're all just very, very disappointed in NECA. Please come and explain it, and we might understand a bit more. What's the chat saying? Let's have a look. Dan said we just need a shoebox and a yogurt pot. So I know Craig's Nostalgic Collection has been challenged for £10 to see if he can make one of these for anybody there. Hello, Mike Hex, you're on the chat. I haven't seen you in there yet. There you go. You don't even need a knife and a pencil, or just a pencil. There you are. You can score the foam board with just a pencil. Damien's mentioned the word technodrome. I see there. Now, I would love a technodrome. So I think we're going to have to go to our friend Brian Flynn at Super 7 for that next year. And 650 for a huge technodrome. Now
Do
that
you
might be
reckon it'll
better
be
value.
650?
He wouldn't make it bigger than the Cat's Lair, I don't think, because I don't think you can physically. It just wouldn't sell. So I think you could make a shell. I don't know if I'd need the full front and back shell, just like there you go. I just need a half shell. What a turtle pun that is. A half shell technodrome I can push flat against a wall and then have all the little bits inside. So I want one of
I
them.
think the only Technodrome representation I will have is my Mega Bloks Technodrome, which is still awesome. I still love that thing.
Yeah, it took a while to put that together, didn't it? It was a bit of a ball ache, I think, from what you were saying.
Yeah. But it was a fun little project. So yeah, it looks nice as well. Very good.
Mike is saying, yeah, imagine the price for a Technodrome with a few walls of 300. But yeah, from NECA, definitely. Who else we got here? Yashik's saying, yeah, Stream Sets is a good option. So they're definitely still out there. You can definitely still find them in a lot of places. Whether they're all available in the UK, I'm not fully sure, but that big version is. So they are definitely options in there. Who else have I ignored in the chat tonight because I've just not been able to read it? Tariq's in here. Hello, Tariq. There's who else? Anybody? Any names I haven't? It's been a bit of a scroll here. Adam's accusing Dan of being the 4% that voted in the poll. So I have ended the poll, and the results are in, and I think it is a clear 95%. Hell no, I'm not going to be purchasing this product. So I think they've shot themselves in the foot because they could have sold a bucket ton of these things at 175. I think people in for multiples, building all sorts of modular pieces. I could see it all going on, but at this price, I think I think, to be honest, we've shat the bed, NECA. Is how I would summarize this one. Far too much going on in the chat. I'll have to watch my own stream on the replay and catch it with the chat, but crazy numbers tonight. So we will finish, I think, on one more bit of Turtles news that I'm hoping Tanner can take us through, because I have no clue what this is, but I believe it might be from somebody called Heat Boys. So we'll finish on potentially a positive note. Tanner, what on earth am I looking at?
So this is a Chinese company, I believe, called Heat Boys. They've been doing licensed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mechs. I currently have their Leonardo. Their Mikey's up for pre-order, and their Leonardo is amazing. So many different customizable options. It's die-cast. It's got some nice heft to it as well. Loads of different weapons. Their Mikey looks good as well with the cannons of bazooka, and we got Raph here. It looks like it continuing that trend of looking really, really good. He's got the old digger drills on it. In another picture I've seen, he's got like digger Wolverine claws. How big is it? I would say around about 10 inches. I'm sure I haven't actually measured it.
Oh, they're big then.
But yeah, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. But it's definitely worth that purchase again. And I've seen so many pictures of what they've got coming down the line, and that just excites me. I know Mike is asking me to show it next to the NECA, but I really don't want to pull it down and have everything get knocked down. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and send it to him on the Instagram. But I can't recommend this thing enough. For anyone wanting to, I know I've already converted Matty to pick up Leo and pre-order Mikey, but I can't give this enough love because Leo so far is one of my favorite figures this year.
So are you thinking the Mezco mech suit would go up against this then in some sort of mech suit?
Yeah, display? You know what? I think the Mezco mech suit is a little bit more wider, is a little bit more bulky than these. These will be quite a bit taller, but yeah, that them facing off against one another, that would be an awesome picture, an awesome fight scene. Just the four tails. I've seen they have a prototype of Shredder as well, and that Shredder, we have good things coming from Heat Boys coming down the line with these turtle mechs. Very good things. I can't say enough good things about these bloody things, about these mechs. It's all I would just say is just pick one up just to handle it, just to see how good it is.
I thought you'd be quite happy to see this one, but Mike Hex is trying to depress us in the chat, so we better just cover this before we get out of here, because 4 Geek Out coming up too, isn't it? So I did have a graphic for this. Yeah, so NECA are they've already set us in the right mood, and now they're trying to make it worse because, is this Target full Geek Out? So Now, geek outs, haulathons, they're just dirty words in the collecting community, aren't they? So looking at this graphic, we've got drops coming then next week from McFarlane, from Lego, Mattel and Xbox, Hasbro, Funko, and of course, NECA. So this just tells me store exclusive, hard to find, going to be annoying, probably no international shipping. We might as well just start crying now. So,
Uncle
Mark,
Ali
cheer me
job.
up. Yeah, that's right. Anything anybody's got any thoughts on this? It could be anything, I suppose. I don't know what's going to be announced, so there isn't really much. I don't think we can say unless anybody's got any leaks out there. Mark, got any sources on Tac Toys?
Yeah, I know. I wish I did on this, Jay, but this one I'm as in the dark as everyone else, I think, on this one. But yeah, I agree though. I like to. I kind of am in two minds with these kind of things when these kind of special events like these holothons, because they're kind of, it's cool to see what they reveal, but at the same time it is a bit of a groan of like, oh, how am I going to get these, or am I going to get these if there's anything I see I like? So yeah, I agree. It's like the availability is always a bit of a kind of groan, but yeah, I mean, who knows? God knows what we could see. I mean, anything is my guess. But I will agree, though. I think what Tanner said about the Heat Boys figure mechs, they look amazing. I mean, and they're so clever as well, because they you can put them with any scale, because they can be mechs with, you say, your NECA sized, 7-inch turtles, or your Super 7 Ultimates turtles, or anything. It can be like mechs to go up against them, or they can be their own thing. So those do look really good. And I like Tanner. I'm a Raphael. Raphael's my favourite turtle. So that's one that I'm excited for. But yeah, in terms of holothon, I mean, anything. I mean, usually I tend to look at the G.I. Joe classified stuff, and the Hasbro's obviously there. So, and that tends to be Pulse exclusive here, I think, when, I mean, everything is, but that tends to be Pulse exclusive with stuff like that. But I guess we'll see. Jay. Yeah.
Things to come then. So somehow we've managed to talk me for an hour and 45 minutes now, gents. So I think it's probably time for me to go and have some dinner and go to bed, as I haven't actually even eaten yet. Coming up to 10 to 11 here in the UK. So thank you so much for both of you coming on.
Thank
you,
Jay.
In the chat. This is the best numbers we ever had on the show. So I'll have to have you two back on more often. Cheeky Monkey can go to bed. And so that has been it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Jay's Toy Collection Live, this week in toys, covering the NECA TMNT madness. So great thank you to everybody in the chat for joining in. Everybody voted in the poll. That was very helpful. And of course, to my lovely two co-hosts here. Let's get the two sweets up again for the NWO that we have formed here. So thank you to Tanner and Mark. I will let you plug yourselves. So somebody tell somebody where they can find you online.
Tanner, you first. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, good sir. So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at SuperTurk5000. I've just crossed 500 followers on Instagram, which was a big target for me. Let's onwards to 1,000 now. Let's get that going. And also you can see me on the Dan Who Network. Now I know Jay alluded to this earlier. He liked seeing my little bit of wood.
So
so go and watch that. We are go and watch past podcasts on the Dan Who Network. And yeah, that's all I've really got to plug.
And Mark, tell us about your YouTube, sir.
I will. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, well, yes. As Tanner says, we can find Tanner, Jay, obviously, and myself on Legends Liquor every 2 weeks, and obviously you can see Tanner on Turtles and Tea, and I'm on the Joe's version of that live stream with Mini Plastic Multiverse Tom, and obviously our host Dan. And then you can find me on YouTube, just like Jay. You can find me on YouTube on Tac Toys with Film, where I talk about film-related action figures in 1/12 scale. So the sewer playset falls into that, being animated. So I may do a video on that, and custom action figures of my own design. So that's me in a nutshell. And maybe more of Jay's live streams on a Friday if he invites me and Tanner back. So yeah. So
you're both welcome back at any time, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've literally done the 2 hours, and it felt like 30 minutes. So I don't know how long we ranted about the turtle thing, but we must have gone on.
I'm sure it'd be more of the same at AEW next weekend for anyone who's going apart from us.
I was just going to say I might not be back for a live stream next Friday night because next weekend is AEW All In Wembley Stadium here in the UK. Myself and Tanner will be in attendance, so I'll probably have to get ready for that. And I've got to sort out my coach tickets. I don't know where they've bloody gone. They haven't arrived yet. So there will be sporadic videos to come throughout the week. I might do something on the Mondos. I've no idea really. I'm making it up as I go along. That's kind of how I do this YouTube. So thank you, gents, for being on. Thank you to the live chat. And of course, we will see you on the next video. Bye.